A channeled message for Samhain 2025 on today's Oblyron divination. Greetings everyone, I'm Oblyron, Lord of the Underworld and consort to the most lovely Hecate. Today I'm going to channel my higher self in a message for Samhain of 2025. Okay, that looks to be going pretty good. All right. So give me a moment just to open up the channels, get into a relaxed meditative state. Death.Oblyron. Death.Oblyron. I am Oblyron, guardian of the void, keeper of the chant of rebirth. We are entering the season of remembrance. And what is it that we remember? We remember those we have lost. Why do we honor the dead? Why do we honor their sacrifice? Why do we honor those who have come before us? Why do we feel the need to create sacredness and remembrance? Who is it for? Is it for them? Is it for us? Is it for everyone? Life is so fragile. Life is so fickle. We are here one day, gone the next. But when we pass over the threshold of death, it is eternal, is it not? Even amongst multiple dimensions, multiple planes, multiple realms of existence, we can never go back to where we once were. And so every moment is sacred. Every moment reminds us that there is nothing like it. The veil is thin at this time of year. And for good reason. Through infinite lives I have lived, no life is ever the same. Every life is unique. Every life is an evolution. Why do we fear the inevitable? Everything is ultimately meant to decay. Even creation itself. I am born at a time of darkness. I am born to a dying version of creation. But even in that death, there is transformation. Even in that death and destruction, there is new life which ultimately springs forth from it. Even as we age, as we feel our bodies decay, as we feel ourselves fall apart, there is nothing to fear, because we are all born again. It's not the dead we should pity, but it is really the living. It is us who cannot see past our own fears. It is us who are afraid of our own transformations. We who are afraid of change, We who are afraid of the inevitable. Why? When we can embrace that life is change, we can flow freely throughout our lives. When we can embrace the uniqueness and the sacredness of those who have come before us and the sacrifices that they made for us, we can learn to live truly and freely, not hindered by our own doubts, our own remorse, our own fears. Sometimes it is in the uncertainty and the discomfort which makes us alive. Sometimes it is when we are too comfortable, when we are too complacent, that we are already dead. Where in the cosmos do you see permanence? Where? Nothing is permanent in the cosmos. Everything is change. Everything swirls in a maelstrom of chaos, guided by a divine hand. And it's that divine hand which stirs the waters of the cosmos to cause that chaos in the first place. But without the imbalance, without the conflict, everything would be homogenized. And we would not be here. Even the dead are in a state of transition. Just as nothing lives forever, nothing dies forever. That energy is reabsorbed, it's reused, and it is rebirthed. Have you ever asked yourself, given the infinite choices that we have every day. Why do we choose our comforts? Why do we choose our habits? Given the fact that we don't live forever in these bodies, why is so much time squandered? Is it that we are not close enough to death? Is that why we remember the dead? So we can remember the finite nature of this life. If you knew that you lived countless lives, if you knew that you were already immortal, would that change anything? Or would you still cling to your comforts and habits? If you knew that you had endless replays, would you be doing the same thing? How would you choose to live? And let's ask the flip side to that question. If you knew that this was your only shot to be alive, would you still cling to your comforts and habits? Do you cling to spirituality for expansion and awareness, or for comfort? Most growth happens in times of discomfort. Most growth happens in times of loss. Most growth happens when we learn firsthand of our own mortality. So given the options, what do you choose? And what is stopping you? Do you honor the dead because you dishonor yourself? do you project onto them ultimately who you wish you could be? Do you find heroes in them? Because you feel like a coward to yourself? This is a true question that we all must ask ourselves. Tomorrow is not promised to us. 10 minutes from now is not promised to us. So at that threshold, at that transformation from life to death, will you be ready? Will you say to yourself, I am ready, death. I am ready to pass on because I lived my life to the fullest. I lived with a pure heart. I loved with a pure heart. I lived my life in accordance with having a pure heart. Or will you be at that threshold and realize everything that you should have done? All the unexpressed love that you held within you. All the times that you took a path that you knew wasn't in your highest and best interests. All the times that you manipulated others. Who will you be when you cross that threshold? Will you cross into it with eyes wide open? Will you cross into it ready and even willing? Or will you cross into it scared, afraid, unfulfilled? What is your choice? If you want to live forever, if you are seeking immortality, but you want comfort, then what good is that immortality? If you are seeking immortality for growth, what will you do with that? As above, so below. As within, so without. We still retain much of who we are when we cross that threshold. But we do see ourselves more honestly. even much of the spiritual practices that we practice in the living life is to ultimately prepare us for the inevitable. That's why spirit is the root word of spirituality. We can experience those tastes of immortality. We can experience those tastes of the divine in these bodies. And they help us to remember who we truly are. But what will you do with it? What will you choose? Who will you choose to be? Many of the hard questions of our inevitable demise are the questions that we need to ask to learn how to truly live our lives. So again, I ask, why do we remember the dead? Why do we remember those who came before us? Is it for ancestral worship? Is it for self-reflection? Is it to give us a compass to help navigate our lives? What is the motivation? And why do we seek spiritual power? Why do we seek understanding? Is it to truly connect with something greater than us? In all of my experience, I have ultimately become destruction. In all of my quest for power, in both mind, body, and spirit, I have come to the void. So I ask, why do you seek to expand your awareness? Will you be willing to accept the answers that do not bring you comfort, even on the spiritual plane? Will you be willing to accept the shadow as much as you accept the light? will you be able to accept all the polarities of creation? And if you cannot accept it, will you ask yourself why? Or will you turn away and choose to live, even in death, in ignorance? It may sound cruel, but look at what life has to provide for us so that we may live. We must eat the animal, we must eat the plant. We must consume something so that we can survive. A star goes supernova and wipes out everything near it. Hundreds, if not thousands, of solar systems, civilizations, life. But that is its role. The black hole consumes the stars and grows ever larger. But that is its role. And at some point, all of creation comes to an end. Because that is its role. And we are all, even myself, just pawns being moved by the hand of God. From the tiniest bacteria to the most powerful gods and goddesses, we are all pawns to the hand of God. Even the conversion of life to death, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It is all part of God's plan. So as we remember the dead, as we remember those who came before us, never forget to ask those deeper questions within ourselves. Why? Why do we remember them? Is it for them? Is it for us? Is it for comfort? Is it for awareness? There is no right or wrong answer. There is just reflection. We all have our choices. We all have our lives to live. I am Oblyron, guardian of the void, and keeper of the chant of rebirth. Well, all right. Okay. So, that's going to be an interesting one when I go back and do the sound on this. Channeling is always a very interesting experience. You kind of go into this dream state. I kind of remember what I said. I mostly don't. And yeah, well, thanks for joining me on this episode of Oblyron Divination for Samhain 2025. If you resonated with it, feel free to leave a comment. Let us all know how you resonated with it. So, thanks again. And love and light, and wisdom in shadow.